Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Intro to Web Development. I'm your host, CreativeBuilds. In the last episode, we went on to create our main.js file and worked on adding a button to visualize how user interactions would work. Now, in this episode, we're going to be building on top of our previous progress and we'll be manipulating the DOM. DOM stands for Document Object Model. In the world of web, all HTML web pages are referred to as documents. The DOM represents each of these web pages in a tree-like structure to make it easier to access and manage the elements. It also contains a bunch of nodes where each node represents an HTML element. The HTML tag always comes at the top and hence is called the root node. The rest of the nodes come under it and hence are called children nodes. But enough of that for now. Let's move on to our code. Change the function name in the onClick attribute to get_text. Don't forget the parentheses. And then we'll swap over to our main.js file and we'll create that new function here with the same name, get_text. Put in your curly brackets and now type in let p_tag equals document.getElementById. Put in your parentheses and pass in the variable clickText to the function. Here, we're accessing a global variable document and we call a function within it. Then we store that value it returns in the variable p_tag. A global variable is just a variable that all web pages have, and it's a value that's built into the browser itself, not something you have to add. You can store values in variables by either using the keyword let or var. There's also const, which stands for constant, or a variable you can't change later on, but that's used for specific use cases. Here, I'm just using let simply out of preference. Now we are setting the inner text of the p tag, just like we would if we typed this text in between the tags in the HTML file. Go ahead and put ptag.innerText equals, and then a string, so single quote or double quote, your name, and then just click the button. Updating HTML values this way is extremely useful for dynamic information that's stored in the backend. For instance, a user's name can be updated in real time without needing to reload the page at all. That's a bit advanced for now though. Swap over to your browser and let's load up the web page. So we can see the button here. Let's try clicking on it and see what happens. If the text appears, then congratulations, your script seems to be working perfectly so far. If not, remember to check the console by pressing Ctrl, Shift, and I all at the same time for errors. Back to our JavaScript file, let's work on something a bit more advanced. For example, changing the colors of the text randomly every time we click the button. To do this, we can use a random number generator to generate our colors on the fly. I've gone ahead and prepared this random function. You don't need to know exactly what it does if you can't tell by looking at it, but essentially it just takes two values. The first is the minimum value and the second is the maximum value, and then it will just pick a number in between the two. If you need to, pause the video for a second and copy it down. Once you have it down, go ahead and generate your first number like so. Let red equals random and then parentheses 0,255. Copy and paste that 3 times and change the variable name to red, green, and blue respectively. This lets us generate 3 random numbers, one for each value of RGB. Then we input those colors into a string like so. Here we used a string. Specifically, we're using a template string, which is denoted by using backticks instead of quotes. It allows us to change a string by using the variables we just made. In this case, we pass in the 3 variables for each color right where they would go if we were writing CSS. Next, simply set the color of the text to the new color variable by typing p_tag.style.color equals new_color. This allows us to access the style on our HTML node. The style variable gives access to pretty much every variable that we can find in a CSS file. Then we save all of our changes and head back on over to the browser. When you click on the button now, you should see that every click generates a new color. So to wrap everything up, we got to learn how to start modifying the content in our website through the use of manipulating the DOM and CSS with JavaScript. We also learned that DOM stands for Document Object Model and is a tree-like structure with each branch being an HTML node, with some being children of others. That's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed and learned from this video. Stay tuned for more, and don't forget to join our community by subscribing or joining the Discord link down below. Until the next episode, keep learning, keep coding. New tutorials come out 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday and Wednesday, with devlogs same time on Friday.